how are you guys? Welcome to ZedTalk. Thank you for checking out episode number 10. Thank you for checking us out in general. Sonny Addams has a new single out right now, Friday, May 14th. Just came out. It's called Greed, and it is on the front page of our app. And if you want to listen to it after this podcast is over, if you haven't heard it already, it is in Sonny's Instagram page as well. So you should definitely check that out. Greed, it's on Arora Records. And we're here with him right now. So, Sonny, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's the first time I've done something like this. I'm really, really excited.
So listen, man, Greed is your first song on this record label, Arora, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what can you tell me about this record label, just right off the bat, and then we'll get into you in a minute.
Of course. So Arora is founded, the brand Arora, not just the record label, but the brand Arora was founded by a good friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, actually. We've known each other since we were like 10 years old. His name is Bijoy Arora. And he started this, what started off first as a clothing brand a couple of years ago. And I had known about it for a long time, and he was making incredible pieces, like really, really dope stuff. I'm actually wearing something of his right now, the Arora with Care shirt, dope piece that he just put out. It's awesome, super comfortable, great. Anyway, sorry. And he had put out pieces and stuff like that, and his brand is really, really going really strong. And about December of 2020, he approached me and he was like, listen, I have this idea for a record label and I wanted you to be a part of it. And at that time, I had only really had like one demo song out, and I had basically no music, but he had seen something inside of me that was like something that he resonated with and something that he wanted to get behind. So we started working together, collaborating, just passing around information, and through him and through his team as well, Nolan, Yumna, all the people over at Arora, I started to develop myself more as an artist, and as a label we started to grow as well. So we have some releases out right now. I think we have artist Tolosi. He has a great album that's out right now, and we're just growing, we're just learning.
Yeah. What do you think, like having this community around you, how do you think that impacts the music that you make?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. I'm the kind of person that honestly like can be considered like a loner, and a lot of things in my life I've done them by myself, and the idea of having like a team is not something I ever really thought about, even when I was starting on my music journey. And having a team just impacts everything. It's a second set of eyes, ears, opinions, viewpoints. There's only so much information and only so much things that you can know as a human being, but to have that team around you, you learn in tenfold, and you grow so much quicker because you have these people that you're going with. If you want to go fast, go by yourself, but if you want to go far, you go together.
That's a quote right there.
Yeah.
So Greed is out right now, and this is your first song on this record label.
Yes, sir.
And so how long did it take to put this together? Bijoy told me you have one song on SoundCloud already, but would you say that this track, Greed, is real impactful as like an introduction to Sonny Addams for a lot of people?
For sure, because before that, prior, I actually went by the name of Sense instead of Sonny Addams. So this is my first official release under that name, Sonny Addams. And that had been my Instagram name for a while, but it wasn't my artist name. It was just something that I kind of came up with when I got rid of, coincidentally, not to confuse people, my old Instagram name, which was like Sense. So this is my first release under Sonny Addams. So but in terms of how long this song took, I started writing this in July 2020. So almost a year now that I've been working on this. And went through a lot of drafts, went through a lot of different versions, re-edits and remasters and remixes to get to this certain point. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, what kind of edits did you have to make? Because I feel like it's a very ambient track, and it almost feels like the intro to a record, which makes it, so good to be like an intro to you in a way. What kind of edits did you have to make?
Well, first of all, my first version of the song had a completely different like writing scheme for certain parts of it. So I had to ask them like, okay, is this good? Should we go with this? I felt that there was like certain things that didn't hit, that weren't impactful. So we had to kind of rewrite certain lyrics, or I had to rewrite certain lyrics and create a song that was more cohesive but then meaningful. I mean, the song's only like just under 2 minutes, so I had to make sure that every line that I said in the song was important and impactful. I didn't want to miss, you know, I didn't want to waste a bar. So that was one thing that we had to change. Another thing was we went through a lot of different mixes because I was doing this, you know, I'm by no standards like a prodigy at engineering or whatnot, but I was, you know, I learned a lot, especially through this song. I learned a lot about doing it. And so it was a lot of learning about like, okay, this song is good, but how can we engineer it even better? Like, what can we add? What can we take away? What can we fine tune? And that became like a process in itself, like months and months of just learning different programs and the studio, the audio digital workspace that I work in, which is FL, and just learning different things and just getting better and better. And then finally, it was just a bunch of masters that I went through with my good friend who mastered this for me. His name is, goes by the name of Remzen. He's an artist too. And that was just a bunch of masters between me and him about how we can get the sound right, the leveling right, you know, all those things. And then we've arrived at the finished product.
Mm-hmm. When did you know like this was it, man? Like we're putting this out?
It was honestly a long time coming. I won't lie to you. There were some times where I thought it was it and it wasn't. And there were some times where I was like, this is not it. But people around me are like, no, like this is it. Like this is it. You know what I'm saying? It was, I mean, July 2020 is when I started writing. It was a marathon. Like it was a real journey to get here. I'm a real perfectionist. So I wanted to make sure that it was something that I was really proud of and that I could put out and like not be ashamed of. And it was a long journey though. It was a long journey.
You've been doing music like about 2 years, one and a half, 2 years. Right?
Yeah. So like, I would say really just like one, because before I was just like a guy that just really loved music, and I'm a huge music junkie. Like if you look at my Instagram at like Sunny ADDAMS, I'm just always posting different music that I'm listening to every single day. So I was just a guy that listens to all kinds of music, you know, just really loved it. But I didn't start taking it seriously or really like demanding of myself that like, listen, if this is what you want to do, then you got to do it. Probably until 2020. I think with the pandemic and kind of all the time that we had, because we were all home and stuff like that, I kind of had a realization that I was like, look, anything can happen in life. And I feel like before that, I was kind of waiting and saying like, well, maybe the right opportunity will present itself, or maybe, you know, this will happen. But when that pandemic struck, I just thought to myself, I'm like, listen, like you could go tomorrow. You gotta try, you gotta work, you gotta go for your dreams, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like overnight that someone gets the ambition to be a musician. I'm sure that it was something that had been in your mind for a while before you actually decided to pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, it had. I mean, when I was a kid, like I have like vivid memories of like doing like Glee Club and like doing the talent shows and like singing and whatnot. But at the same time, it was kind of something that I was just like, okay, I could do this. And like, it's a cool talent to kind of show off sometimes. But it wasn't like, all right, I'm going to do this as a career. When I was really young, I had like hoop dreams. I wanted to go to the NBA, which I'm sure like a lot of, you know, people like just wanted to be an athlete or something. But as I got older, it was kind of like, okay, got to buckle down, got to get good grades in school, you know, get into university, all that. But then with the pandemic, I was just like, listen, this is a thing that's been the constant love of my life, you know, since I was a wee kid, listening to like Usher's My Way and like the Space Jam soundtrack, like Josh Groban and stuff like that, man. Like I was listening to crazy shit when I was a kid. And it's a constant love that I have throughout my life. Like I never faltered. It was always so important to me whenever I did. And it just felt right. It just felt like all the pieces were there. I just needed to consciously go for it. Yeah.
Is your music taste still as eclectic as everything from Space Jam to Josh Groban today? Like, or
insane, man. Like if I pull up my phone right now and like show you my like recently added, you'd be like, what? Like, okay, who we got here? Like Beach House, I'm listening to right now. Flying Lotus, like Lil Tecca, Antoine, Brockhampton, Paris, Texas is like a band that I really love. it's really just all over the place, man. Like Doja Cat's in here. Like it's just really all over the place. And I think that's because I'm just like a person that's just always kind of open to things and always kind of looking for more information. I was like a very curious kid. So when it comes to music, I'm always just like, what can I find that sounds good? Like no matter what the genre, who is by, what era, I'm like, what can I find that's just good music, you know?
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of genreless for you?
Oh, very much so. I love the idea of like in music, and then especially in my own music, blurring the genre, like the genre lines between like different things. Sometimes it kind of annoys me where it's like people will seek to, you know, label your stuff so quickly as a certain type of like this, like, are you a rapper? Are you a singer? Or is this alternative? Is this rock? Is this R&B? And I understand it from like a standpoint that, you know, people want to stay within their niches. But I think the moment that you start thinking about music as just music, you start to develop an appreciation for all the different genres. And when they clash together, you just get, you know, beautiful sounds. Sometimes people aren't ready for those sounds, but oftentimes, you know, the people that push those genres forward and push the boundaries in those genres ended up being the trailblazers for, you know, the sound that's popular today.
Yeah, you have to surprise people.
Yeah.
You expect that from you. I mean, this track, you know what, man, I ain't even gonna tell you what genre I think this track is in, because you're right, like it doesn't even. But, you know, would you say that the rest of your music is going to sound different than this song, a little bit like this song? What's the sort of aesthetic going forward?
I think the next song is definitely going to sound different. The next one I already have like planned, and we have that shelled already. It's definitely going to sound different than this one. I think that's mainly because when I wrote this one, I was in a different headspace, you know, a different talent level and a different situation. So that's obviously going to affect the music as well, you know, like, and those things are changing. But then also it's just like, unless I'm working on a project, which is then like, you got to think more about cohesion and, you know, what fits together. But even then, like, I still like to push the envelope. I just want to always just do things that are different. For me, the way that I write songs is, I guess, kind of unique. I wish I asked more people how they write songs, but for me, it's like, I think of an idea in my head about something that I'm passionate that I want to write about. So for this song, Greed, it was a situationship that I was in. And I thought about the situationship, how it made me feel and all these things. And I thought, okay, now I'm going on YouTube. I'm like, how can I find a beat that accurately makes me feel like what I'm feeling, that provides sonic imagery of, you know, where I'm going with the song. Then I find something and I'm like, okay, I'm like scatting out melodies. I'm like, okay, what sounds good? Like what matches the tone of the message and the song. I really think of songs and songwriting as almost like movies, where it's like the beat is a score, your lyrics are a script, your tone of voice, your melody is the camera angles, the color, the, you know, the tone. And it's like, put those things together, you get like a scene. And I guess you put those scenes together, you get a movie. And that's kind of the way that I've always thought about that. The relationship between music has always been like very visual for me. And that's like kind of the way that I write songs, where it's like not necessarily a long process, but it's like really, really thinking about everything that I do. Like there's a reason for every single thing, even in a short song like Greed. Like, why did I sing it like that? Or like, why did I say that at that time? Like all of that has like a purpose.
So one thing that I noticed was that the promo for this song, you used a movie that I actually have a poster of the movie in my room. Like, it's one of my favorite movies, Taxi Driver. What was the inspiration behind putting Taxi Driver as the aesthetic, the promotional aesthetic for this single? And did you play a big role in that?
Yeah, so I cooked that up with Nolan Balance, editor, a part of the Aurora team, super talented guy. And I basically pitched the idea, and I was like, look, like I said, like my way I write songs is like a movie, and I wanted to him to edit scenes together from movies that I felt like fit the vibe, fit the imagery, the sonics. So the first one, that we did is Malcolm and Marie, a recent film that really recently came out by Sam Levinson, and that was one about these two people in this isolated place having these discussions about their relationship. And in the song, like, the protagonist is questioning so many parts of his relationship and his feelings and how the other person feels and all these things. Once I thought, Malcolm and Marie, it's perfect. Taxi Driver was like visually, and I guess also in the theme of it, which is like this loneliness and PTSD and all these things that Travis is dealing with. It felt like at that time I felt like that, like I was lonely, like even though I was seeking company in this person. And in the movie Taxi Driver, he seeks company, and Jodie Foster's character, I can't remember her name, but it felt like I was like that person. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're like, not to say too much, but you're on the late night drives, by yourself in the car just listening to music, and it's like you feel like you're the only person in the world, and especially at that time too, because it was COVID. I really did feel like that isolation, And the last one, I don't want to say too much about it because we have another one coming, but that one also kind of fits the theme of what we're talking about in terms of the movies, what relates to the song and all of that.
Do you see yourself like going into movies, like making movies?
Yeah, man. It's funny, like my original dream as a kid, like before anything, I remember my youngest memory, man, like I wanted to be like an actor, like Will Smith. Like my dad is like a huge influence on my life in terms of like music and movies, because he was a guy that just listened to so much music and had so many movies. Like he's one of those guys that had like the whole booklet of like CDs in the car, stuff like that you flip through. Like we're talking like 300 tracks. And he was a huge movie guy. And I just loved like all the movies that he would watch, but we watched a lot of Will Smith movies like Men in Black and like I, Robot. And I wanted to be an actor so bad. And in high school, I did plays and stuff when I was a kid too. In high school, I took like a film class twice. So like we made a movie and like I directed it with a bunch of my friends. Definitely, I won't lie, later on, I would love to do something like that. That's really, really, really important to me. I would love to do something with movies, like whether being in acting, writing, or directing.
You have this community, and I don't know everybody, but I see what you guys are doing, and you have a lot of different people that are into a lot of different stuff like that, and there's potential there if you are into making movies. It could be something relating to music as well, but
time will tell, at the end of the day, but I think when the time is right, it will happen. Right now though, like I'm just focused on the music, but I have it in my, in my future plans.
So, have you played live before? I mean, you've become an artist during COVID, so.
No, so because I basically started when COVID started, I haven't got to play a live show yet. That's something that I'm really excited for, because I was like previously a person that honestly struggled with like stage fright a bit. When I grew a little bit older and I became more reserved and showing my like talent, whatever, I became like more prone to stage fright. And working with a team and like having people constantly evaluate your work and your progress really like melted that away from me, where I feel like confident, where I'm like, yeah, I want to perform, like I want to interact with the crowd, like I want to do all those things. Like making the music in studios is obviously amazing, but it's like the bulk of your life as an artist, realistically speaking, is touring. It's playing it live. I want to get really, really good at that. I want to get the best at that, realistically speaking, because that's the way people are gonna remember me. Like the fans are gonna remember me. You see like videos of like Travis Scott all the time at his like freaking shows, or like I used to watch like a bunch of Watch the Throne concert moments and stuff like that, and you just think to yourself, like, you want those moments for yourself, you want those moments for your fans, and like how dope is it for somebody to be singing along to these lyrics that you wrote all your life.
So you kind of strike me now as like somebody who, would you say, is a jack of all trades in a sense? Like, you told me that when you were growing up you wanted to be an actor, you're talking about your love of movies. do you see yourself as one of those artists that is going to eventually be the guy designing his set design, the guy designing the posters, the guy designing the merch? It all comes from, you know, one general idea. Do you see yourself in that kind of a way?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. For sure. I used to think that was a weakness, kind of being good at everything, because like if you're like good at everything, you're not necessarily great at everything or great at one thing, you know. I was like in high school and like middle school, I was like an athlete too. Like I was a good athlete. Like I won medals, like freaking, you know, got nominations for athletes in the year and stuff like that. So I really was a jack of all trades in like kind of life. There were so many interests and things that like I cared about just throughout the course of my life. Like I used to draw like a lot. Like I used to go to art class. I took art until like grade 11. Like there's so many things that I just cared about, that I took interest in. Like I really tried everything. And I used to think like, oh, like I was wasting my time because I didn't focus on one thing. But it's like now it kind of comes to fruition where it's like, okay, what I learned from media studies, I can apply here, here, and here. What I learned from art class, I can apply here, here, and here. What I learned in English, I can apply here, here, and here. What I learned in music, what I learned in drama, it's like, you know, it all comes together. The thing about it is, I think in life, like we try so hard to like divide and categorize things, that we don't realize that it all just comes from like us at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, everything that we have a human being thought of, mostly, you know, this computer, you know, this hat, like it's all just different ideas interacting with each other that affect everything, especially in art. I mean, it intersects with politics, science, religion. You know, there's so many things that affect it that make it what it is. It's not so simple as honestly like a category.
Yeah, I mean, like we're all three-dimensional.
All of us. I feel like in a way, yeah, everybody's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, it all comes from passion, and like if the passion made a hat, the passion can make a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Passion can make a movie. The passion can make music. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So will we be seeing music videos from you with these singles that are coming
out? For Greed, not the first one. For the second one that we got planned, I'm hoping to get something out for that for sure. Music videos are like something that I'm gonna, if I do it, I gotta do it like well. You know what I mean? I have to make sure that it's like the best, not the best thing, but something that I'm really, really proud of, because, you know, like I said, from like the movie background, like visuals are so important to me. So important to me. I'm a visual learner, I'm a visual guy. So definitely music videos definitely coming soon for sure. And when they do, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Sorry. And you said that your talent level has like improved. So like while you were working on this song that came out, well, it came out today, but you started working on it like last July. And I'm sure that you've been working on other songs and other things since then, and your talent level has grown. Was there ever a time where you didn't want to continue the track because you felt like your talent level had now exceeded it and you needed to go back and continue to work?
For sure. There was like so many songs that I had worked on that I thought were of a certain level, and then when I got together with my team and I realized, you know, like these things need work, you know, it was a learning experience. And there were times where this song and other songs that I felt like, oh man, like I should just scrap this, or I should just abandon this.
Right.
And for Greed, the reason that we all kind of settled on it was because we thought it was the best introduction to an artist that was just going to be different. It's a different song, like not, and I understand, like, and we understand that everybody listens to it may not like it because it's so different, but that's who I am. Like I'm a different person, like a person that enjoys all genres of music, a person that's trying to bend genres. And we thought it was a perfect introduction, like you said before, to Sonny Adams. And you know, at the end of the day, there are things come after, and people might like the things that come after more, and they might like the things that come after less. But personally, this is for me what I thought I had to say before anything else. That was really important to me.
As a jack of all trades type artist, how do you take that whole mindset and bring it into a collaborative area? As someone who, like, you know that you can mix, you know that you can master, you know that you can come up with all these different ideas. How do you let go of that control when it comes to bringing it to your friends and bringing it to your collaborators?
Yeah. In the beginning, I won't lie, it was like hard because when you're used to working by yourself, you're used to having that autonomy, that agency, that control, and that final say on what goes on and what doesn't. But when you're in a collaborative space, you kind of relinquish that, for better or for worse. But I think for me, it was better. And I think the reason that had to come was purely because or the reason that it came, I should say, is humbleness. I think even though I felt like, yeah, I was good at a lot of different things, like I said before, I wasn't necessarily the best at anything. And when you approach things with humbleness and try your best to understand in any situation that you're in life, not just like music or working collaboratively, but if you just humble yourself, then you can learn and grow in ways that you didn't even imagine. Like if I look at myself in December and look at myself now, like I never thought that I would be this type of person. Like I never thought that as a musician, I would be thinking about all these different things. I may have never learned these informations by myself. For me, it was just like, be humble, man. Like, because at the end of the day, the people that you're with, that you're collaborating with, they believe in you and they love you and they want to see you grow and they want to see you shine. And if you humble yourself and you allow other people to give you advice and give you different perspectives, you can create a beautiful mosaic of all these different ideas and motivations and images. And I just feel like that's the beauty of like collaboration.
As we wrap up, man, what can we overall like expect from you this year in 2021? Like, what would you say would summarize the continuation of Sonny Addams in your career for the rest of this year?
I would say we got stories to tell. We got stories to tell. I'm always writing. I'm always thinking about different songs, how I can take it, new singles, new visuals, new promo. And this year, especially when things start to open up, I'm just gonna be going ham and trying to release as much music as possible and really trying to show people like who Sonny Addams is. Like this is a kind of like a small little tidbit, but I have a lot more to say and a lot of different like amazing ways to say it. So I would just say stay tuned because things are coming. Things are coming for sure.
So, all right, man. Thank you for doing this, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
ZedTalk number 10 in the can. So, you gotta check out Greed, Sonny Addams, Arora Records. It's on the front page of our app as well. The latest drop. The app is free on the iOS App Store. It updates every day. If an artist that we've worked with has a new single out, it's the first thing on the app every day. So yes, that is free on the App Store. Also check out Zion Zed May Edition, which we dropped at the beginning of May. It features Mile End, Blue Rivers, Ethan Sermon, and Frankie the Pig. Frankie the Pig, we are interviewing next Friday. A week today, we're gonna drop our interview with Frankie the Pig, and that's gonna be sweet. Also, if you can, go on Instagram and find the page Save Toronto Music Venues. I think that if we all chipped in like $5, we could save some of these venues that really need our help. And this past year, we've lost a lot of really amazing places to play. Speaking of places to play, man, if you can, get vaccinated, bro. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, man. I just want to play concerts. I just want to do shows again. So I'm excited for that. Zed Night 6 will be our next one whenever we can do that. So I'm looking forward to that very much. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of ZedTalk number 10 with Sonny Addams. And yeah.
You never loved me, Mom. No more Fortnite.